See this here? That is a swollen battery. So it is time to replace this battery in this 2016 MacBook Pro. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. Let's get into it. This is the kit that I ordered off of Amazon for replacing the battery in this laptop. Looks like we have some gloves. They almost look like credit cards and some kind of sticker. How about some ASMR? So finally got it. Cloth. Okay, so then it comes with some directions. Pretty small print. Looks like there is 23 steps to this process, maybe more. Oh my, 35 steps. This is gonna be a good bit. That's probably what the pry tools are for. It's glued in, possibly. We'll work through it. Let's get into it here. I honestly did not think it was gonna be this difficult to just replace a battery. But we're gonna try to make it so you guys don't need that. We're gonna go through it ourselves here. So just a little bit of a padding. And here is the rest of the kit. So you can see these are the battery cells. This part's what connects it to the main board. Actually some pretty nice screwdrivers. Some of these are, I believe, Torx or possibly Penelope. Little suction cup. Battery. It looks like maybe this is a pry tool of some sort. And that is it. Runpower. So the first thing we're probably going to want to do here is to just get inside. And I've actually already done this. And again, this one is swelled. So it's actually pushing on the aluminum or aluminium, if you're Johnny Ives, or from, the United Kingdom. I guess we're just going to go through these steps here. All right. So the very first thing they have us doing, putting this cloth here over the screen, supposedly to prevent some kind of spillage of alcohol, which I don't remember seeing any alcohol, but we're just going to do we're going to put this back down just like that. And now we can work on the screws. So I already had this apart, just kind of looking at it to see how difficult I thought it was going to be. Yeah, so I want to say it's the blue one here. Each of these, I'll be able to tell just by feeling. So I will warn you ahead of time, these are different sizes. It seems as if the ones in the back are longer than the ones in the front. I'm just going to use this as sort of like a makeshift screw tray here. So now I'm going to work on the smaller ones in the front. It's just wanting to pop right out of there. So I'm really curious to see with this swelling, if this aluminum backing or this aluminum case conforms back to its original shape, because it's definitely ready to pop out of there. Interestingly enough, this laptop was right around the time of the ones that were catching on fire. It wasn't the year for that. That was actually the year prior to this. So I was kind of curious about that too, because I'm like, well, I know this one, I checked to see if it was eligible for the recall, and it was not, but I had another one that was. So then they suggest putting this sort of suction cup on here, and I want to say this just actually pulls forward towards us. I don't know if this will actually grab it or not, but not doing too good, but I'm pretty sure that it's just got to come towards us. There we go. So I kind of just pulled it. It sort of like sticks under these parts here, go under. So when you put this back on, it just sort of goes under these here. Yeah, moving right along here. So right there, see how swollen those are? Ironically, this laptop was kind of acting as a server. It's 8 years old. Was fine. I think it was just the fact that these batteries were always at 100% that inevitably did them in. Oh, also in this picture here, it shows using these credit card pry tools in the sides. With mine, I did not have to do that because I think it was like the swelling had taken care of that step for us. So yeah, it wasn't necessary. Okay, so next they have us removing this tape right here. There's actually just tape that apparently just kind of pops off here. It almost looks like an S here. Maybe I can get you guys a little closer view here. Okay, I think that'll help a little bit there. So yeah, so right here is this like little, it almost looks like an S. So we have to pop that off next. I feel like it's just hard to see this. I'm going to have to work with just one glove. All right, so this part already is a little bit tricky. It's very tiny, but there's this little door. There's this like almost like a piece of tape here that's connected that peels up. And then under that is actually a little door that you have to click up that door is what's holding it. And then it's not going to want to come very easily, but and I'm sorry, I cannot use gloves with this, but eventually that will come out. And if you can see right there, there's the connectors from the wire. And I'm sorry, that's not better, but you can see the little gold connector. So now it is unhooked. It sort of slides under that, and then the door will latch down when we go to put it back together. So adds a little bit of a tricky one. I would say take your time with that. There's basically, this thing is sort of glued here, and that's blocking a screw. So we have essentially 3 screws we have to remove. One here, and one there. At least my case, it's going to be the purple screwdriver. Just be very careful with these. You can see that whole thing's going to want to move up out of there now. It's loose at least. So then I believe there's also another connector. And mine looks different. What I'm seeing here looks different because the shield is up here. Right here under this thing that looks like an S, this part needs like pried up. It says pry open interface. Okay, and then it wants us to remove these 2 screws here. It's like a little door that comes off. Then we're supposed to pry this part up. Okay, that's loose. All right, so now they have us doing this part here. It says lift the cable with the crowbar. It's coming out, but I think we got it though. Looks like there's also one over on this side that we have to pry under. You just kind of get under the edges of it, and then it'll pop out. They're definitely, you can feel that they're glued. There's some sticky adhesive in behind it holding it. So then they have us removing screw here, 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 and here. So these 3 were the same size, but then this one was a little bit longer. Then they have us removing the ones on this side. And there's just 3 on that side. Then there's 2 screws here and here that we have to remove. Yeah, I just removed that one, and now we're going to remove this one. Okay, then they have us removing a whole bunch of screws up here. Hard for me to really see them. It's kind of hard to see, but it's actually right there and right there. They're just little tiny ones. Okay, and it doesn't really go into detail, but it looks like they want us to remove these 2 like plates here. And then additionally, it looks like we have another screw that we have to remove right here. That's a bigger one. Okay, so then it looks like we're inserting the plastic cards under the battery, drip the alcohol, and then slowly push the plastic card until it comes free. I don't think it came with any alcohol. Yeah, so there's definitely no alcohol, which that's kind of like, if I'm supposed to be using alcohol, why they wouldn't have included that, because they included literally everything else. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a concern. But it just looks like they're having us pry underneath the batteries on each side. So after a good bit of prying, I'm kind of getting these loose. You just have to kind of work with it back and forth, and eventually it seems like they're coming out of there. But yeah, this does not seem like the best way to do it. So after a good bit of prying, I also got this one loose over here. I think I kind of made a little bit of a, hopefully I didn't, this doesn't matter, but this part tore a little bit. Yeah, there's supposed to be some alcohol or something, and then it says not to use alcohol on these middle ones, which those are what's next. It looks like we're supposed to pry in from under one side. It says insert the plastic card from one side under the battery and then slowly push the card until the cell comes free. So we will try our best, but yeah, these have been in there for a while, so. And yeah, I should probably be using these gloves, but it's proving to be very difficult with running the camera and everything. Get under that one with these pieces in the way. You see what I'm saying? Like this piece here is in the way. I wonder if these would have just worked better if we'd have heated them. Okay, those two are loose. Gee whiz. So this next part's a little tricky. We actually have to lift the main board up and out of the way in order to get this part out. And so the way they're showing to do that is to pry essentially under here and also here. It's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, for sure. Plus these are still stuck, these two. So I'm not so sure that we're really to that step yet. Definitely does not want to come easy. I'm not super thrilled with that part of it. These instructions are not really all that detailed. Kind of feels like this part, if it ever comes up out of there, should come out from under here. Yeah, just like that. So I feel like I'm being rough with this particular I guess maybe the alcohol would have helped. I'm going to work on this battery cell over here. All right, so that's it. It's coming out. It just says remove the battery, but there's like another cable here that goes under. What the heck? This connector here. Oh, maybe it just comes off the battery. Got it. So I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah, this piece here is just over the battery, just needs removed. That way the battery gets out of its way. And that should be it for the battery. All right, we're finally making progress here. I was a little worried about this piece. I was like, that's something different, but it actually is not connected to the battery. It was just stuck on there. So really, in hindsight, these were the trickiest parts. And it looks like it comes with adhesive on the new battery. So I don't know if maybe peeling these off. I figure if we maybe heated them up, it would have been better. So I got under one of these, and it's just peeling right off. Okay, so I finally got that sticky stuff off there for the most part. I'm just using a little alcohol wipe of my own here to kind of just get any residual whatever cleaned up here. I would say that was the most challenging part. These are actually the speakers right here, and weirdly enough, when I first got this laptop, the speakers were crackling, and I bought those. I actually have a pair of these. That problem went away. It like resolved itself. Never put them in. But yeah, I do know that that's what those are just because I looking at them. But you know, this is probably if you had to replace your speakers, you know, it looks like they're, you know, those were the two connectors that we unhooked. I think it was just to lift the main board out of the way. All right, so I think we just need to get my pry tool's seen better days, guys. Basically just need to pry under here, I think. We're going to basically just have to slide this battery up under there like it needs to go. So they have this battery kind of like in a protective film. I'm just going to leave that on for now. I figure that's probably going to come off. The undersides of this battery has like a these peel off things. So at some point, I guess we're going to have to peel those off. But it looks like this tape that's on the front sort of just holds it in place until we get everything where it needs to be. Try to get under this and get it up out of there. Might help if you have a friend for this part. All right, this is it's in there. I'm gonna go ahead and peel this sticky part off. It's sort of holding everything together. I feel like we're close, just not 100%. Like these screws, they're close to lining up, but just nice and slow. I'm just gonna leave it to there. So kind of got things in there. I feel like now is the time to start peeling this bottom thing off. I'm gonna stick the bottom part. Oh yeah. But I'm still not gonna like. It's kind of interesting. These fold up here. I feel like that part's already sticking. You definitely get stuck in there quick. This one, I'm not exactly super happy with how it stuck down there. We didn't quite stick the landing on that one. But this one I'll try to get. I think it's gonna be okay though. Doesn't seem like it's off by that much. It's just a little bit good where they're at. All right, so now it just kind of has us putting it all back together at this point. So we're doing the 3 fan screws. And remember this one over here, this one here was just slightly longer. It's not having us put them back together in the same order. So I've got these three fan and these 3 fan screws, and then this one here that sort of holds the main board in. And now they're going to have us up here again, putting this back together. Which there was one large one. It almost looks like it holds the heat sink or something. So the large one went right there. And then there's actually 4 really tiny screws that are going to go hold these plates in place. And so the first plate, this screw actually has a screw that screws into the top of that screw. As weird as that may sound. So then this part here goes over top of it. And then these tiny little screws will go over that. But I want to say we use a tiny screw first. They're all the same length. Yep, that one goes right over top. And he actually, yeah. Then we put another tiny screw here. So yeah, a screw into a screw. Be very careful. These are so small. And then I think this last part just bolts over. Yeah, goes over top of that. And then there's 2 more very tiny little screws that go and hold the back part in. I think I tried to put a screw into a screw. Probably because of that other screw that had to be put into a screw, right? Like what kind of... Nah, I got it, finally. Just seemed like the other one had torqued the piece of plastic, so it was not... so there's very tiny screws that go here, 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 and then into the other screw. Okay, so next they have us back here in this part, and we're going to put this part in that is sort of moving around. So these screws were a little bit bigger. One nice thing is these screwdrivers are magnetized. They're actually pretty nice screwdrivers. This piece bends down. This piece is supposed to go over it, And then there's a really big flat, almost like a washer that goes on to hold that part down, I guess. All right, that's in. So now we have to slide this little guy right here into the, remember how there's a door here? So we got to slide him under and then close that door. This will be, I think this is probably going to be one of the trickier parts. I'm going to try to do it with a little plastic thing, but it's not wanting to go. I don't know how you would do these with gloves on. I mean, I guess if maybe this wasn't your first time, but seriously, like, there. So a little bit of like wiggling, just kind of very gently wiggle it. And then this little door should shut down once it's in there where it's supposed to be. That should sort of flop down this way. Okay, so I did manage to get that back one. It's just like a piece of plastic. It's very, very tiny, but this door can come off if you're not careful. And it's a real trick to get it back on. All right, so now we've only got like just a few screws left here. Basically here, and then this data cable is gonna flip over. There's a little shield that covers that one, but I'm gonna put these other two screws in first that kind of secure the main board. I really hope this works. I felt like I was getting a little bit frustrated and a little bit too rough with the batteries, getting them out. So this part here that goes under the batteries comes out. It has like a connector here that will interface here. And so you can get it to go in. Should go easy. Yeah, there we go. So it clicks in and it still has some adhesive here. And then there's like a shield that covers this part here. I guess you call it a shield. It probably just keeps it from getting unplugged. Very tiny little screws going into it. One right there. And I got another one here. Okay, we're getting close. I really hope this works because otherwise I just destroyed my computer. Which wouldn't be the end of the world because this thing is pretty old, but still, like, you know, I have plans for it. So this was the piece I peeled off earlier. It's like it was like tape or something. And I think they gave us a piece of that to replace it, but they're not exactly the same. So I don't know what to make of it. It almost seems like this part's slightly different anyway. Like, I don't really see the holes where this, I mean, it will stick there. Little feet on it that was basically designed to sit like right like that. And I mean, it's going to stay. I mean, I feel like that's going to stay. I'm not going to use the new tape. I'm going to just use what came with it. Maybe just to give it a little bit of extra, maybe I'll put this tape on top of that tape. Just like that. There we go. Everything, these need plugged back in. The speakers on each side. Remember how we unhooked them? I just push this down here. And then over on this side, there's another speaker one. So they just need kind of lined up and put into place there. All right. So I want to say this battery's in. Aside from this being a little crooked, I think it's looking pretty good. All right. So now we just have the back. So remember how at the beginning I was telling you about these here? They kind of slide up under. So yeah, that's kind of the goal with it. There's also these pieces here on the side, which I think these had popped out. So I'm going to just kind of lay it like this. And the holes won't line up. You're going to be a little bit towards the front of the laptop. And then it should kind of want to push it like back towards the back to get it to line up. Once it does line up, kind of just push it back. It'll it should snap. Oh, hear that snapping in these side pieces? That's the part that the the swelling of this battery, it actually pushed those out. So now we just have to put in the screws. And these particular screws were all the same, except for the ones in the very back. Back corners were longer. And I got one in this top corner as well here. And then we just have 4 more in the front. Should be the same. Just gonna tighten them down. I kind of didn't tighten them all the way as I went across, just so it would give it like a, you know, so that way I could torque them in at the end. All right, so we've tightened all 6 screws. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Will it power on? That's the real question. Yeah. I guess we'll find out, right? Or is it? I'm not getting any power, but it could be that this battery's like completely dead. I hit stop to save on battery, but look, it's actually coming out of hibernation here. So I think we're possibly good. I do have power plugged into it at the moment. I'm going to get logged in here. First turn it back on, I didn't have keyboard and mouse, and I just had to fully reboot. Probably should have completely shut down. Looks like things are working here, guys. I have mouse movement. Yeah, it looks like we were successful. I have iStats here. I'm gonna see if it'll give me a once everything gets rolling on this computer here, we'll see if it will give me sort of an update on the battery status and like how the health of the battery. I haven't yet seen anything on that, but yeah, this is looking pretty good though. So yeah, check this out. The battery is charging, showing 50% charged. It's only got 1 cycle on it. That's great. Great news so far. So it looks like everything's fine, other than, you know, like I said, the keyboard and mouse weren't going to work there for a little bit. They're definitely working now though. Awesome. Success. Yay. Even with all the struggles I had.